Teamless United in the Europa League. Europa League.
There you go. Fenerbahce won, Manchester United won. Nothing to fear, according to Jose Mourinho. It's a point. Manchester United, what's that? One win in like 11 European matches. Not great. It's not great. Before the game, to be honest, I think when the draw came out, we'd earmarked, hadn't we, that it was going to be Porto and Fenerbahce probably we were going to drop points with. Didn't think it was going to be Twente. But if you'd have given me a draw before the match, I'd have gone, well, whatever. I'll take that.
Hard place to come.
I mentioned it earlier on when it comes to the Europa League. It's just about getting through to the next phase, isn't it? I mean, you want to get through the top 8, not the playoffs. In terms of the whole performance, again, it's not great. We ain't great at the moment, but that's where we are. That's where we are. That's where we're at. 1 win 11, and that's why when Ten Hag was saying in the press conference about we've what we've done in Europe, we've done F all in Europe. Like we end that. Like we end that. First 3 games of this Europa League campaign, 3 points, 3 draws. It's not great, but win at the weekend. And if you'd have said to me, this week you get a draw away at Fenerbahce, win against West Ham, I'd have said I'll take that. But it's all right. KG, thoughts,
mate? I don't know how I feel about this because it's Fenerbahce away from home. It's like it's a decent result. It's a good result, right? Like if you don't think of the other games, but you have to think of the other games, which is a shame, Man United just need to score goals, and we struggle to score goals. But then what's crazy is there was a moment in a game where we could have gone over the line when the ball gets dragged back to Delo, and Delo just has to cut it and to Rashford, and you could score that one. There wasn't. Fenerbahce didn't do that much in regards to their chances. Like, actually, they had that double one with Onana.
That's why I always say. I was saying during the game when I was like, I think upon the reflection that I think you probably go draw is probably a fair result. In all honesty, because Fenerbahce in the first half in particular, when it was 1-0 at halftime, they were looking at it like, how on earth haven't we scored? You look at Onana double save, Ugarte block. Realistically, they could have had 3 goals in this game for us. Eriksen goal's a good goal. Did we create much after that? We did the thing where we get into good areas. When we get into good areas, but we can't. Our decision making in the final third ain't that. So I think a draw is a fair result. I said this morning that if it was a defeat, a draw, I wasn't going to be too like, this is why Eric needs to go rah 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 rah. Because I don't think this competition is that. Because I still think, as bad as we are, I think we will get through to the next phase, just whether that's in the playoff way.
Our football just has to develop, man.
But the other games we've got coming up in the Europa home games, I think we will win. But it's in general, like I mean, I'm not saying anything new here. That's why I will also say about the Ten Hag out stuff is like, I'm not going to every single time hammer the point now because I made my point. You know what I mean? There's not really.
It's not necessary.
It's not new. It's not new information, is it? You know what I mean? It's not new information. It's just I know this team. I know the way we play football. That's what we are at the moment. And for that reason, before the game, if you said you can have a point, I go, yeah, all right, because we're not very good.
It's just not. It's just not progressive, But like again, you can get into the whole. I don't think it's necessary to even get into the Ten Hag out thing. It's just Ten Hag has a job to do. At the moment, he's not doing it the best. He got inventive today with Masraoui in the 10, Xerxes, and these guys playing off each other. I think when the second half comes, I don't think we found a new level, a new groove. And then you look at the subs he made. You might be able to question that Anthony's not going to deliver for Man United. I think we have to kind of be resigned to that. And I think he could have played Ahmad earlier.
You see, Ahmad comes on. First thing he does is skin the defender, get a yellow card on him. First, like one of his first touches. Anthony wasn't going to do that. As far as his thing of, the way he set up with Mazraoui in the 10 and what have you, we went in halftime 1-0 up. But once again, it's the predictable Manchester United, which, what did we say at halftime? And we went, all right, we've seen this season multiple times, come out straight after halftime, concede again. And we did it, because we're predictable. That is the same reason when we go 2-0 up against Porto, we go, well, I'm not going to go too mad because the game's not over. And that's also why, going back to it, before the game, if you said you'd have a point, I'd go, yeah, because I know this team. I thought
I was going to lose.
It's not super surprising. But I think for Ten Hag, certainly the more important game's on Sunday. Because the Europa League, the best team won't win the competition necessarily. It doesn't always work like that. In the Premier League, if you ain't good, it will catch up with you, and you cannot have a gap start building, particularly as we get closer towards the holiday season. Because that's where he's going to that's where his judgment's going to be. So, super chats here. Ethan's been around 50 months, says, for all that wanted Bruno drop, this is what you get. Larry says, I watched that Barcelona versus Bayern match yesterday and had to watch this today. Ooh. Harvey says, again, we're so bad, always struggling against below par teams. So wasteful in possession, can't pass the ball. We wouldn't win a game in the Champions League. Larry says, for context, we've only won one game since the win over Barnsley. Well, look, Larry, we're going to get back into that thing where once again, people, it'll be how you perceive it, isn't it? Because people will be like, we've got X amount of victories in this amount of time. People will then go, we got X amount of draws. We got X amount of losses. We haven't actually, because we're unbeaten in the last however many games, KG. That's what it will be, I'm just a bit tired.
Everyone's going to do,
that's why I'm not really participating in it anymore, because I'm just like, what's been said's been said at this point, really, so it's just, okay.
We just got to all we just got to do is show another level, another gear of progression. Hopefully that comes again against West Ham. There was moments. It's tough because that game should have been a draw. When you actually look at it on the chances created from both sides.
Fair result, isn't it? Draw's fair.
It's a fair result. It's a shame that we haven't developed, but we know this is what our team has been on. So far this season, we struggled with everything we tried to do. So we can't this result shouldn't surprise anyone. The one thing you're hoping for is in the next game, now you've got Bruno, you've got a few players involved, and there's chances and subs that we can make. He has to make the right ones. So on the week against West Ham, we have to show another level. We have to go up again. Scoring one goal, Man United need to start scoring a plethora of goals in a game. We need to get 3s, 2s in a match, and we really struggle up front. We really have these moments where it's just we're feeding our scraps. I think probably one of the lowest scoring sides in the Premier League.
Yeah. Super chat from Chiku says, so much negativity. Goddamn. Look, when it comes to, like I said earlier on, I think exactly. Yeah. People can have their opinions. People can have their things. It is what it is. Yeah. What I will say is it's a very negative time. What I mean? So it is what it is. Is what it is. Is what it is. As far as
a little bit though, I wanted to win.
Of course, we always want to win. Yeah. We always want to win. It's deflating because after, particularly in the first half, it felt like, all right, maybe it wasn't amazing, but maybe there's a bit of a smash and grab here, away European performance. I still do look at it like it's not the worst result in the world. I don't think it's the worst result in the world. Because I still think we'll go through, but like I said, that's why I always earmarked Sunday as the bigger one. Got to win away at West Ham. Have to. They can't be doing draws or anything like that. There, this evening, this competition is not determined at this point. You just have to make sure you go through to the next round. However way you do it.
Wins just feel nicer.
No
this
shit.
Just feels rubbish. This just feels like, oh, okay. I'm not going to get happiness from football then. You know what I mean? There's moments where you're like, oh, that was so fun. That was so good. Because you kind of want to see your team, but then you just know who they are. You know what I mean? And they're that, just difficult to watch, difficult to enjoy, difficult to, you don't go away from games saying I was thoroughly entertained. you just had this thing of, oh, we didn't lose. Okay.
Well, again, and that's why I think it's probably deflating as well, because it's almost like the time for like the big, bang on the table, sort of big performative outrage. That's ages ago now. You know what I mean? You know what you're getting. You can't be surprised. So for instance, that's why at halftime we were almost a bit pleasantly surprised. We were like, oh, actually, didn't collapse. That was good. And then after halftime, you can see, you go, there you go. All right, okay, cool. And you know what you're gonna get, really. So yeah, that point, that's where I'm kind of out of it, am I?
It's just, I'm done with it, to be honest. It just sucks. Like, we're just rubbish. Like, I get it's a good result away from home, and contextually, it's a good result away from home. But then the other side of it is, well, how have you guys just looked in general? And
your European record in general is just horrific.
Yeah, our position. Where are we in this table now? Where are we in this competition now? 20 what?
Let's have a look. I mean, in terms of this, again, recent European results, it's one win in what? 1 win in 11. As far as where we are at the moment, we're 21st. As things stand, we'd go through to the playoff round, where it's tight. You know what I mean? There's a few teams on 3 points. But we're, remember, it's
3 points out of a possible how much? Possible 9?
Possible 9. But reminder, the format is top 8 go through automatically, then 9th to 24th go through to the playoff stage. At the moment, we'd be going through to the playoff stage. So, that's where we are. That's Man United at the moment. In terms of like the performance, I mean, largely in keeping, really, with where we've been last few weeks, isn't it? Some good moments, defensively very fragile. Onana had to bail us out a few times with some top saves. Do we look really a threat going forward? Not really. You know what I mean? Poor decision making. But then that's no different. But then also again, I don't expect a lot of difference because the sample size is really big.
Oh man, and I argue with the fans that are like, we're going heading in the right direction, and I'm like, I don't know how we say that, like we're supposed to show there's supposed to be a golfing class between these two sides, and it's just about right, like that goal that he scored, it's a good striker's goal, but defensively, it's poor, like. It's just we see this all too much. We see this all. It's just it's boring. It's so boring. Like the trend where the club is going is incredibly worrying, and because it's happening slowly, we're not realizing. Like we're not seeing this is a disgrace. Man United 21st in the Europa League is a mess. We're supposed to be the strongest side in the competition.
Oh, Jesse called us one of the favourites. You know what I mean?
The favourites are 20. It's just, and because it's a slow rot, it's almost like you just don't realise where we actually are. But then it's just not good enough, like. And the problem is that some people see the positive and say, "Well, we haven't lost in Europe this season." But
that's what I was saying earlier on. Where that's where it is. That's how it was during the international break as well, wasn't it? With the whole, but you're 6 points off top 4, but you're 5 points off relegation zone, but there's 31 games to play, etc., etc. It's like, well, then we are just into the territory, aren't we? There, where it's how you perceive it at this point. It's how I perceive it as we are fucking dreadful. We are. I know some of these players aren't good, but I'm telling you they're better than this. And then there are others that well, no, you'll see. You'll see, but I'm way past the point of like I said earlier on, anger, frustration, smashing the table, because that realization was many a week ago. Your realization was at Spurs, and how many weeks ago is that at this point? So at this point,
3 weeks,
it's it's what you expect. That's why I thought we'd win. But that's why That's why I'm taking a draw, because I'm like, well, that's where we are.
I knew we weren't. I knew we weren't gonna win. I was praying and hoping for something different, but I know us, man. Yeah, we just stink. Like, we're just so basic, average. We're an average side. You know, if that's the Premier League, he would have got a pen. You know, they would have done it to us.
I know
they would have done it to us in a pen.
And this is the other part of it as well. You know, I was saying about how these things are coming. We are also utterly predictable. Like, when we say like the whole don't concede after halftime, don't collapse, don't do that. Like, what's going to happen every time.
We always, and that's the worst part, because we said in this game,
that's why I'm not annoyed.
One goal,
because it's like, well, because it's going to come. That's like having the Woody doll pulling the string, him saying there's a snake in my boots and going, "Fucking livid, you said that." You go, well, it's going to happen every time.
We said, one goal is not enough, and we saw it really quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, it just stinks, man. But this is the Man United we support, and we're just in this downwards phase at the moment until the manager picks up his ideas, or Ineos decide they've seen enough.
Yeah, that's the direction that Manchester United are in. Larry with a super chat says, last win in Europe, 1-0 versus Copenhagen, October 23rd, 2023. Yes, a year ago. That was the one where I was the last minute Onana penalty save, wasn't it? That's where it was. Yes. How many likes we ended up at? We are 15 likes away from 1,700. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well whilst you're at it. Bottom right-hand corner. I'll be live, of course, with the full-time view right after this, where members can call in and they can have their say. You can discuss this draw in the Europa League, 3 draws in the first 3 matches, 3 points in total. And of course, we move on to the weekend. We go on from there. Big up KG. Yeah. Good luck.
I got a lock in for tomorrow, man. It's an early call time. I'm up early. I'm on set early. Yeah. So yeah.
And a reminder, guys, scan the QR code. You can go to Fail Forward. You can use the code UnitedViewFF. Get 20% off your next purchase. I'll be live tomorrow morning for the morning view, as always, 9 a.m. to discuss the fallout. And also we'll have fan views coming from Flex in Istanbul as well. So be sure to check all that out. We're out of here. Peace.